problem I want to talk about here is the triple Venns. These are probably the hardest of the Venn diagram questions. And I've made one up for you here. I want you to practice. This one has French, German, and Spanish. That's what the F and the G and the S stand for. And the number that you need to have to be able to do one of these problems, you cannot figure this number out. Well, I guess if they gave you every other number, you could. But the number they're going to give you is the one in the middle. And I will tell you right now that that number is an 8. Okay, so put that in the middle of your 3 circles. Now, this 12 is obviously, at least I hope it's obvious, you should not just slap it in to this spot right here and put a 12, because it's 12 of 2 spots. These 2 spots together are supposed to add up to 12. Okay? All right, take it from there, and you should be able to completely fill out this Venn, and then answer the 2 probability questions at the bottom. I'll pause while you do that. One other good point, a student asked me, either I have to tell you the total number of people, or I have to tell you that there are, how many the neither is. There are no people that aren't in one of the languages. We were only asking language students, so it's 0 down here for the neither. Now, I'm still not going to tell you the total, but you can figure out the total yourself. Okay, so let's start to put in some numbers here. Would you agree this has to be 4? Because the 8 plus the 4 together make 12. How about this one being 2? Yes? This one being 3, right? Very good. I was just seeing if you're going to say yes to everything. Okay. This one I honestly don't know. Can you tell me? 28? 20? Okay. Then if I add these all up, 20 plus 4 plus 1 is 25, plus 8 makes 33. That seems like it worked. Okay. This one over here, 19. How about this one? 39. I think you get 93, don't you? All right, good. So when you add them all up, you get 93. Why does that matter? Because I need to know the probability of G and F, which here's G and F. These together are G and F, not the 4. That's a common mistake. The 4 and the 8 together make up G and F. That makes a total of 12. So there are 12 out of all the things were possible, 93. The next one, it's not everything possible. It says given that G and F, like given we had a student who speaks German and French, well, I know it's inside this circle then. I know that those are the only things possible. Where does the possible go? On the bottom. And then what do I want to go on top? The thing that's favorable outcome for me is a French, German, and Spanish student, and that's the 8. So 8 out of 12 is my final answer for that one. Raise your hand if you had those 2 right. Good. All right. So it's cool that the triple Venns have become the easy problems for you. All right, here's another one. And I bet you forgot about one of the ways to do probabilities. We'll see if you can remember it for this. 3-question test. It's like a little quiz. It has multiple choice questions. So the answers could be A, B, C, D, or E. How many different ways could you answer the 3 questions? I'll be curious to see which way you choose to do this one, and I'll tell you how in just a second. I should probably start recording again. If you use the blanks like this, you can allow for numbers to repeat. Like, could I answer the questions A? Yeah. Yes. If you do a permutation, you can't do that. Remember how permutations are like for runners. And if I had, like, all of you guys are running a race, could I seriously have Flynn come in first, Flynn come in second, and Flynn come in third? No, you can't have the same thing 3 times. So permutations won't work when you can have repeats. Let me say that again. This is important because you're going to be torn about, this is sort of like a permutation. But you can't do a permutation if there's repeats. It's got to be like a race where once the person has finished, they can't come in first and second. Okay? So use the blanks, and you get, well, how many choices do I have for this first one? Times 5 times. If this had been 5 times 4 times 3, a permutation would have been working. But why do I get to choose 5 the second time? Because I can say A, and I can be okay. I can repeat like that. So final answer, 125. Who had it all on their own without me telling them to multiply 5 to 5 to 5? Good. Okay. That was a challenging one. I know. It's really not that hard now that you think about it, but we haven't talked about those blank problems in a long time. All right. So just a quick review of the other kinds that we really didn't talk about much. We didn't talk much about the card problems where you have like 52 cards and in the deck, and I'm going to choose 5. Do you remember this? And I want to get like 3 clubs and 2 hearts. 13 clubs in the deck, choose 3 and 2 hearts. 13, choose 2, and you can make sure they balance. We didn't talk much about the card questions. We also didn't talk much about the pizza questions, which are just like this, though. Same kind of problem. We also haven't talked much about complicated contingency tables, which are just big tables, but they're probably the easiest problems of them all. And so we have a few things to review for tomorrow. Any other last questions before we stop for the day? All right. This is the part where I give you homework.